Having fast hands at the kitchen is the most important skill to winning more games. The problem is, 90% of players react slowly and aren't confident with their reflexes. And while you might think that having quick reflexes is just something you're born with, it's not. Just like you can learn to hit a serve or a backhand, you can also learn to react faster by mastering the 10 tips that I'm about to cover. So the first thing that I want you to think about in regards to your fast hands has nothing to do with your hands. It has to do with your legs. And what you realize as we go through this video is that a lot of the things that are gonna make you react faster with your hands don't have to do with your hands, they have to do with your body and your legs. So the first tip is that when you're moving forward, a lot of the time you're on defense. Maybe you just hit a drop, maybe you just hit a reset. But regardless, if you're farther back and your opponent's up, they're probably gonna try to hit the ball hard. And in order to react quickly as you're moving forward, you need to stop yourself with a split set. So what does that look like? If I hit a reset that goes a little high, Kennedy's about to hit the shot, right before I hit that, I'm gonna jump into my split stance like this so that I can react in either direction. What you don't want to do is you don't want to move through the shots like this. So see, I'm moving through it. If I'm doing that, Kennedy can sort of tangle me up and I might lose my balance. So as I'm moving in, right before Kennedy makes contact with the ball, I jump into my stance. That gives me the ability to react and hit a shot on balance. It's a lot easier to react when you're in this position than when you're moving and your head is not staying still. That goes into my next tip, which is that when you are reacting to a hard shot, you need to keep your head still. So when I'm in a dinking rally, I'm ready for my opponents to hit the ball hard. What I don't want to be doing is I don't want to be bobbling my head around as I'm moving because that makes me react slower. So you want to keep your head still and you want to be on balance when you're at the kitchen because this puts you in the best possible position to react. I see so many players that when their opponent hits the ball hard at them, they sort of jump a little bit and this completely messes up your coordination to where you might not be able to hit a good counterattack and you might not be able to react as fast. So keeping your head still though is not just about looking at a solid point. You don't want your head to be going up and down. So try to keep your head level and you want it to be still on your body as you move side to side. So if I'm moving side to side, my head stays completely level and it stays very stable so that if my opponent does hit hard, I'm completely ready to respond. The next thing I want you guys to consider is the most obvious, but it's the most important too, and it's your ready position. So if I'm standing at the kitchen with my paddle down like this, it's going to be way harder for me to react because I need to bring my paddle up. So if your opponent hits the ball hard, odds are it's gonna go around 6 inches over the net. So the best ready position, or the way that we wait for the ball, is where your paddle is about 6 inches over the net, like my paddle is here. Out in front, lean slightly to your backhand side. So why this is the best position is it puts me in the closest spot to where I can react to every shot. And I lean it to the left, to my backhand, so that I can cover my body with my backhand. So in a state where I'm reacting to hard shots, I'm probably hitting a backhand 60–70% of the time because I'm using it to defend my body. So we lean the paddle slightly to the left to favor our backhands a little bit, and this just makes it a lot easier to react. The main thing you need to be keeping in mind though is if you're up here, your paddle's up 6 inches above the net, you're ready for your opponents to hit a hard shot. You never want to be standing here with your paddle down. The next thing you need to keep in mind to be able to react as fast as possible is that with your ready position, you don't always just want to be facing straight in front of you. A lot of the time, it makes more sense to have your hands pointing one direction depending on where the ball is. So, for instance, if I hit the ball over here to Drew, I don't want to be facing Kennedy because if Drew has the ball, the hard shot that he can hit to me is down the middle. If Drew's over here, he can't hit very hard to my forehand side. So if Drew has that shot, my ready position is going to shift because the only place he can hit it hard to me is my backhand. So essentially, I'm going to point my ready position more towards where the ball is. So regardless of where the ball is on the court, I want to point my ready position there and favor the stroke that is more likely to hit the ball. So on the other side, if I hit the ball to Kennedy, I'm going to point my ready position towards her because the odds are if she hits hard down the middle, I'm gonna hit a forehand. So in that case, I probably wanna favor my forehand more, and that's gonna make me react a lot faster than if I think I'm gonna hit a backhand when it's very unlikely. So the way that we shift our paddle side to best suit where we need to react to is what I call paddle shading, and that's what we just went over. But there's another way that we shift the paddle up and down that can also help you with your reactions, and it's what I call the seesaw effect. So all the seesaw effect is if you hit the ball high to your opponent, if your opponent has a high shot, you should put your paddle down more. Because if you hit high to them, they know that the best place to hit is right at your feet. So if they have a high shot, your paddle goes down so that you can react. If they have a low shot, your paddle can go up a little bit more because you know that they have to hit the ball up. So if your opponent's hitting their ball from lower, you can have your ready position up higher, but if they're hitting the ball from higher, you should lower your ready position so that you can react faster. It takes a long time to drop for a shot like that. So the second they're up high, you should be down low with your legs and with your paddle in order to react. And as I move back in the court, the same concept applies. So if I'm in the transition zone right here, my ready position should almost never be at this height. I probably want my ready position to be more down here, because if my opponent hits a high shot at the height of my shoulder here, it's almost certainly gonna go long. So a high shot that's going hard is gonna go out, so there's no reason for me to have my ready position up here. I should probably be around here. And as I move farther back, I kind of want to have this lower ready position, because as I'm moving forward, my opponent's probably going for my feet, and if they go high, it's going long. So when I'm coming forward, if I get into this kitchen position, ideally I'm probably at this height, but as I back up, the paddle should be getting lower and lower. And as I'm going forward, my paddle should be going higher and higher, unless I give my opponent a high ball, where I should go back to my lower ready position. And that leads into my next tip, which is that if your opponent hits a ball hard at you that's really high, you need to get used to letting it go. Because if I'm hitting shots that she's hitting at me and they're going high and they're going ridiculously hard, it's gonna be hard for me to react to them because they're coming so fast. I also am gonna be getting myself into a situation where I have to win a hands battle, versus if I just let the ball go, I win the point automatically. So if they're hitting at you hard and it's going above the height of your shoulder, it's probably going long, and you need to get comfortable with letting those balls go. So it can be a little bit hard to get rid of the reflex of trying to hit the ball, but next time you're playing, try to let those balls go, and you'll start to see whether or not they're dropping in. So sometimes they might drop in, but usually if they're going at that angle at the height of your shoulder, they're probably gonna go long. It's a skill that you need to develop over time, but you gotta get started so that you don't lose to bangers who are just hitting everything as hard as they can. The next thing, guys, that you have to do if you want to get faster reflexes, you have to do this. There's no exceptions. This is the one thing on the list you have to do, is practice. And the best way to do that on the court is with a partner doing drills like this. So in this drill, me and Kennedy are volleying, and as the rally progresses, we're gonna start going faster and faster. We're focusing on all the stuff we just went through, but we're gonna start going faster and faster until one of us wins the point like I just did there. Another way you can do this is you can actually take a step inside the kitchen. So here we're actually a little bit inside the kitchen, and do the same drill. And this actually increases the frequency of how fast that you need to hit the ball. So it will increase your threshold for how quickly you need to react. So if you're on the court and you have a partner, it's very simple, but these are the best drills to increase your reaction time. You just need to get used to reacting to every type of volley. You don't want to have any holes in your reflexes. And if you want to do this at home, the best way to practice your hand speed at home is on a wall, which is why we made our product, the Dinkmaster Pro, which has this red side that we call the Speedmaster. So this side is for doing hands drills like this, where we're working on reacting quickly. And while we're working on reacting quickly, we can aim for these speed zones that we created so that you not only react faster, but you also have coordination when you're reacting to hard shots. So we made the Dinkmaster Pro with a material called honeycomb aluminum that makes the ball bounce off faster than a normal wall, which makes these types of hands drills extra effective. So it's even better than training on a normal wall. And as you can see, this drill right here, it's sort of like juggling in soccer. So juggling in soccer is where you can keep the ball up with your feet. And it's not something you do during the game, but just like juggling, if I can do this consistently and go really fast on the wall, I can also react quickly on the court. So this is a great way to train at home so that you have the skill of reacting fast and you don't have any holes in your reflexes. If you want to get a Dinkmaster Pro for yourself, right now we have it on a huge discount for Black Friday. So head to our site now and check this thing out. One of the best gifts for the holidays and one of the best ways to practice at home. The next tip to react faster though, is that you should watch your opponent's backswing. So it's not all about reacting to where the ball is coming. If you watch your opponent and their body language, you can actually predict the future. So if Kennedy takes a big backswing on a dink, I probably know she's going to hit the ball hard. As you can see there, she took a little bit farther back, and I can see she's doing something different with her wrist than she does on her dinks. That gives me a little bit of an alert to get ready for a fastball that's coming. I don't know where the ball is going to go, but I know that she's going to hit it hard. You can also watch her body language with the rest of her body. So if she's doing something differently, she's turning her shoulders more than she does on her dinks, I can probably assume she's going to hit the ball hard, which tells me that I need to be extra ready for that next shot that's coming hard. So when I'm dinking with Kennedy, I'm waiting to see when she changes her technique. See, I see that she's dinking, and then there, she took a little more of a lunge, she took a bigger backswing, so I can sort of predict that she's about to hit the ball hard. And that gives me that split-second advantage, that head start to get ready, that if I'm just responding to her ball, I'm not gonna have. So that split second is gonna be the difference sometimes. So you wanna make sure you're always watching your opponent's body language so you know when they're trying to go hard at you. And the next thing that can really help you in terms of reacting to your opponent's hard shots is retreating. So a lot of the time you'll hear people say, never back up in pickleball. You should never back up. When you're at the kitchen, you never wanna back up again. That's not true. A lot of the time, if your opponents have a super easy shot, you can save yourself by backing up a little bit. So if I see that Kennedy has a really high shot and she's gonna hit the ball up here, what I wanna do is I wanna take a quick step back into my split stance. So just as I wanna split as I'm moving forward, if I need to retreat, what I want to do is that quick step back, which helps me react faster. So I missed that shot, but had I been standing at the kitchen, I would have had way less time to react. So if we're in a dinky rally and I give Kennedy a nice high ball, by taking that step back, I might give myself that extra split second that I need to react quicker. And if she keeps being aggressive in that situation and I don't get her out of it, it's totally fine for me to back up as much as I need to, then I can start moving forward again when I regain control of the rally. But just know, if you're in a bad situation, backing up can help in a lot of cases. And guys, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. This last tip is a really obvious one, but it might be the most important to winning more hands battles. Before I get into that though, if you would consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel, that would be very beneficial to us and we'd appreciate it very much. When you subscribe to our channel and you like this video, you'll be suggested more pickleball videos like this one that will also help you improve. You'll get all of our new latest content that we're making, and we're making some pretty cool stuff over the next few weeks in the holidays. So consider liking and subscribing. You'll get suggested more pickleball videos and you'll get better at the game. And the last tip is that if you want to win exchanges that involve fast hands, you need to make sure that if you're counterattacking and you're gonna go hard, you actually get a good amount of pace in the ball. I see so many players that when their opponents attack, they try to get into a hands battle, but they don't hit the ball very hard and they don't hit it in a good spot to where they can take control. So when your opponent hits the ball hard at you, you need to get enough pace on the ball that goes back at them so that they don't hit a good shot again. So what that looks like is this. Kennedy's gonna speed the ball up at me. I wanna hit the ball hard back at her. And if you watch pros like Ben Johns play, they do this really well. So when your opponent hits the ball hard at you and you're counterattacking, you don't want to just float the ball up. You wanna hit it firm and you wanna keep the ball low. So when I'm trying to hit the ball hard off of a hard ball, I don't want much wrist movement. So the technique of this is more of a punch. So if you're counterattacking, you're punching the ball with a steady wrist, and that's what's gonna give you that pace. If I have a loose dangly wrist and a loose grip on my paddle, I might not get that much pace in the ball and I might mishit it. The other thing you wanna keep in mind is that if you can hit the ball at a downward angle, that is going to be very advantageous to you. So if she attacks at me and I can hit the ball down at her feet, she's not gonna be able to respond to that. And if I'm doing that, I'm gonna win more hands battles. So remember, if your opponent hits hard at you, next time you're playing, really try to come back at them with some more pace, and you'll probably realize that they're not gonna do as good a job on the next shot. So guys, if you like that video, like I said, make sure to subscribe. And if you wanna watch another video about how to get spin on your serve, watch this.